Welcome back to Talking with Our Traders, a Caesar Sportsbook original series, the podcast that takes you inside the mind of the sportsbook with our very own Caesar Sportsbook traders. I'm your host, Cindi Edwards, and with me today and all season long, Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesar Sportsbook.
Hello there.
And Joey Fiesel, Head of Football here at Caesars.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
How's it going?
It's going.
It's going. All right, let's jump right into college. Joey, Louisville shocked number 2 Miami last week. Is Carson Beck's Heisman campaign officially dead-zo?
Carson Beck, his Heisman campaign isn't officially dead, but it's on life support. His terrible performance, 4 interceptions, no touchdowns. Heisman odds went from plus 325 to 35 to 1. Narrative matters when it comes to Heisman voting, and usually a real terrible game is going to be brought up.
In prime time.
In prime time, nationally televised. It's going to severely damage his candidacy. It's not over yet because I think Miami is still a good team, and they still have plenty of opportunity to win the ACC still, to be a great team, to be in the playoff, and that'll kind of boost him up, especially if he has a much better game in November. Like that's really when Heisman matters, but right now it's not looking good.
Louisville didn't shock. Carson Beck was on Miami Dolphins' home turf and felt like he was the Dolphins' quarterback with all those picks. No, Beck had such a bad game that gave Louisville the game. If he has a slightly better game, Miami win. Yeah. But yeah, it's damaged this. You can't do that on prime time and expect your Heisman Trophy price to shorten.
Right. All right, Craig. Well, last week you believed Alabama was the biggest fraud in the top 10. Do you still feel this way after their performance?
I am old and stubborn, and yes. I trust my ex-wife with my money before I trust Alabama with mine.
Oh, my God.
Look, again, bad quarterback play impacts games. Would Alabama have lost to Tennessee? Probably not. They were the better team, but you can't have 14-point swings going into the half.
Yeah, that was
and if you're on Tennessee plus the points, you should feel hard done by because Tennessee were within that game. They were not going to win because Alabama were the better team. But again, the quarterback determines your success, and Tennessee's was terrible.
Yeah, well, unlike Craig, I'm in Alabama's corner. They might not be the bandwagon Joey. They might not be the flashiest team, but they're absolutely a top 5 contender and a legitimate threat for national championship. Maybe Craig should reconsider it. Maybe over, I don't know, a cup of tea and some crumpets to reconsider his stance.
Crumpets, yes. Tea, no. But look, I'll eat humble pie. Alabama have this expectation of winning a national championship every single year. That is Alabama, and that's because of Nick Saban. Now, if their season is a success if they win the national championship. Is it a failure if they don't win the national championship? In their eyes, maybe. But you still get to like a Final Four or a final. So that's for college kids, it's still success. But unless they win a title, they are not the best team.
And you don't think they'll win a title?
No.
All right, there we go. Moving on, Georgia rallied past Ole Miss. Did that fourth quarter comeback cement Georgia as a college football playoff lock?
I wouldn't call them a lock yet, but it put them into a prime position, absolutely. What they need to do looking forward, they need to beat Florida and Jacksonville after the bye week, possibly face maybe A&M or Alabama in the SEC championship, and just avoid that second loss. That'll complicate things. But if they can get some of they don't have to be perfect. But if they don't lose and they make it the SEC, they're in. Or if they get another loss, but they make it in the SEC and they win, they're certainly in. But they're in the driver's seat right now. But certainly not a lock, especially how this college season's going.
Yeah, and you're spot on. It's you can't afford the second loss because then you start the conversation as opposed to the coffin is nailed if you're a one-loss team. They've got 3 tough games, and they have Georgia Tech as a rival last game of the season. So, they're not a lock, and minus $3 is certainly not a lock price.
Fair. Vandy cracks the top 10 for the first time since 1947.
Wow.
Crazy. How big is the liability on Vandy's futures right now?
They're not a liability. Rarely is Vanderbilt a liability in our future book, but they have the ability to be one still at 40 to 1. Diego Pavia, week in, week out, shows his ability to be on the field, and he just has that Camp Scatterboot type attitude, right? Loud and obnoxious, but someone you certainly want on your team. kind of like Craig. Yeah. Well, I don't think they pull it off. I really hope they do make it because they'll be absolutely electric if they make the college football playoff. Like, it's just one of those teams that you're going to want to root for. They're going to lose by 40, but it'll be fun to watch them lose by 40 in a college playoff game.
First time somebody's wanted me on their team. 28th in handle, 16th in payout. Similar to last week with the Bucks. A nice Cinderella story, but we're fans of them, but these fairy tales
people
rarely
aren't buying.
No.
Yeah. Is Fernando Mendoza a lock to be the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft?
No. He does have the prototypical size, great footwork and mobility, shows poise under pressure, but he's playing for Indiana. And he really, this is kind of what Cignetti does, right? He throws jabs like, oh, you just get 5 stars. He's developed Mendoza to be what he is today. So I think he's standing out right now to probably NFL teams just because of his size, his stature, and his ability to move the ball down the field. But I don't think he's gonna be number 1. Miami or Las Vegas, maybe. It seems like he would kind of fit into that mold if we're looking at the draft. But someone who I do think is probably gonna go number 1 overall, and even though he's not having a great year, it's going to be who's probably going to choose that number 1 pick. That's Lenore Sellers for South Carolina. South Carolina has not looked great, but he has that Cam Newton size. He has great arm. Screams New York Jets. He's a stronger, faster, bigger arm talent than Justin Fields. So if you're going to if they don't fire the coach this season and you want to still go that mold, Lenore Sellers makes sense for the New York Jets.
I like it. Craig?
Every time we talk about a Heisman candidate, they go get injured or have a terrible game. So I'm expecting a terrible game for Mendoza this weekend. The Jets are the favorite for the worst season record this year, plus 160 on the Caesar Sportsbook. Titans plus 190, Dolphins 400, Saints plus 475. Then it's a big gap. If I'm Mendoza and I win the Heisman and I think I'm going to be number 1 or Joey's selection, and I see the Jets have got the first pick, I'm going to become a monk in a monastery. I am not drafting for that draft that year. It's tough because for a rookie quarterback, and we see it with Dart at the moment, but New York has this habit of just demoralizing quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to play as a superstar player, and the expectation's so high because that's what the city demands. So, if the Jets are the number 1 pick, I feel so sorry for who goes number 1.
One day, someone's going to break the mold. One day.
But I'll be long gone.
All right, let's move on to some game previews. Let's start with number 8, Ole Miss, looking to rebound versus number 13, Oklahoma. Is this a bit of a trap game for the Rebels coming off that emotional loss to Georgia?
I don't know if it's a trap game necessarily. I think both these teams have very solid defenses, and that's what I think we're going to see in this game. This could be a playoff elimination game if we look into it. Both are 1-loss SEC contenders. You know, we got Ole Miss, obviously lost to Georgia. Oklahoma lost to Texas. So both these teams want this one really bad so that they can push towards being on that upper echelon of the SEC and to make the college football playoff, which this game means a lot. So I don't know if it's a trap. I think it's a very competitive game, and I think it's going to be whose defense plays better. That's going to end up winning. So I do think the value is on Ole Miss, just because if you're going to like the under, you're going to like the defense, take the points.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting real now, college football. And when I say real, I mean real tough for Oklahoma Sooners because they've got 4 ranked opponents left on their schedule and Alabama. You'd theoretically assume 4-1 gets you in. 3-2, their probably season's over. So this is probably the easiest of the 5 that they've got. This is Ole Miss's last tough game of the schedule, so it does feel like a playoff eliminator. But hell of a matchup to start at 9 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah.
But if you think Oklahoma can run the table on those 5 teams, would you bet 27-1 for the outright or 70-1 for the Heisman? Because the quarterback's got to have great games.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think the value is in the Heisman rather than the title.
All right, moving on. Texas A&M versus LSU. The home team has won 9 straight in this series. Line sits Texas A&M minus 2.5, total 48.5. Joey, break it down for us.
This is LSU's last dance, right? They need this win in order to stay relevant. They might already be not relevant for the playoff, especially looking at the remaining part of their schedule. A&M's just rolling. You know, they're another team that's not flashy like you see, so like Indiana or any of some of these other Big Ten schools that really just run up the score. They're just secretly very good in the SEC, but this is going to be something that's going to challenge them. But a win here, I think that almost solidifies them for the playoff because they're going to be just have that big enough of a resume. I think we'll probably see Brian Kelly hitting the table at the press conference after this game. I like it. I'm
Love to see it.
Give me history and the points. Okay. I will take LSU plus the points. A&M have not won in Baton Rouge since 1994. Boys to Men were the number one song in America at that time, and Jurassic Park was the number one movie. And more interesting, I was going through my glam rock stage and I had hair all the way down to my back.
Oh my gosh. Can we
we need a picture.
There is no picture.
No evidence.
No. LSU.
All right. Okay. Moving on, number 2, Indiana versus UCLA. Will Mendoza strengthen his Heisman case, or is this trap spot? Facing a Bruins team that's on a 3-game win streak. I know the coach keeps saying they're 3-0, they're 3-0. They looked horrible before that, so Joey, break it down.
Yeah, lost to UNLV and then had a couple really big wins. Obviously got that bump from firing the coach for UCLA. I do think this is a trap spot. We saw last week, it was very entertaining for me at least, seeing Indiana covering the spread, and then at the last minute, Michigan State just kicks a field goal for no reason, and they don't cover. I think UCLA is going to be competitive in this. Jerry Neuheisel is their offensive coordinator. No one knows about the interim coach. It's all about this young kid. His dad was very respected in the industry, and he's got this offensive rolling. The only problem is they do have Nico got hurt last game, so he came back late, but you know, even if you come back, does that mean you're at full strength? Maybe not. So that might hurt them, especially against a very decent Indiana defense. But yeah, I think they're going to try to run up the score. That's what Cignetti does. I don't think Cignetti ever rests on his laurels for any game, no matter good or bad. He wants to run up the score. You can look on the sideline. They're up 28-0, and he's still just got that frown. He wants to win. He wants to win big every time. So I do like UCLA here just because of the amount of points, and I do think they have that rhythm offensively. But keep an eye on the injury stuff because that's going to make a big impact in this game if that's the case.
Do you like the over?
Not really. No, I think they think both of these defenses are a little bit underrated.
I think this is more of a refocus game for Indiana. They've been in the news a lot lately. There's a lot of talk with Mendoza. There's talk about them running up the score. Cignetti got paid, which is amazing when somebody else loses their job and a competitor starts knocking on the door. Some salaries get sent around.
Good timing for
good
Cignetti.
Timing.
Yeah.
Great for Cignetti. Which makes you think that maybe there could be a lack of focus this week, which I'm not saying that there is, but...
Right. All speculation.
You get paid $93 million this week. You're spending most of the week at Louis Vuitton. You're not looking at play video, are you? Exactly. And the thing is, it's stat padding time for Mendoza and his Heisman chances because all their games are easy the rest of the year. So avoid injuries. If you're up by 30, you need to keep him in the fourth quarter just because of the Heisman. This is when decisions get made by coaches that impact January. Sure.
Yeah, good point. All right. Last but not least, number 10, Vanderbilt versus number 15, Missouri. A battle of two surprise teams looking to stay in the mix for that SEC title game. Line is Vandy minus 2.5, total 52. Joey, is Vandy's rise for real?
I think so. I mean, they've proven they were competitive in that Alabama game. I think Diego Pavia made mistakes, but
they should have covered.
They should have covered. And Craig doesn't believe in Alabama, but I believe in Alabama. And this is the best Vanderbilt team I've ever seen, and probably will ever see. Because I think once Diego Pavia leaves, it's over. But Missouri is also a very good team, very competitive on both sides of the ball. We're kind of that little weird tier. Outside looking in SEC team, but they look like they're going to be competitive. So this kind of feels like a trap game. I think Missouri is the right side here. And I think this is where kind of Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt get kind of caught off guard and just caught with their pants down because they played a couple really tough games with LSU and Alabama, and then now Missouri comes to town. I think they play up to their competition, and I think they're probably going to be overlooking Missouri a little bit in this spot, so I like Missouri.
Interesting, Craig.
If this was on a neutral site, Missouri would be slight favourites, so I would take Missouri. Given each team's schedules, you probably get the sense this is another one of those whoever loses, season's over. It's a huge game.
Yeah.
I think home field probably determines this. Probably take Vandy, but no real strong opinion.
All right, let's move on to our picks of the week for college football. Favorite college football game to go over?
I like A&M and LSU over 47.5.
Michigan State over 48.5, just because it's a rivalry.
Yeah. Favorite college football game to go under?
Oklahoma Ole Miss under 54.5, I believe.
Two good defenses. For two reasons. Stanford, Miami under 45.5, but that was 48 on Monday.
Yeah,
that number's gone.
That number's gone. Well, mix of a couple of different factors in that one.
Yes, sir.
Favorite college football team to cover the spread?
I like A&M -2.5, fading Craig in this spot. But I think they're just the better team. I think LSU's on the down.
Craig, tried and trusted process. I'm going Virginia Tech tomorrow night over Cal.
All right. Upset of the week.
I like Minnesota over Iowa +270. I think this Iowa.
Whoa, you're feeling okay?
I am feeling just fine. Well, I'm looking last night. I'm looking whenever I think it was yesterday midday. Looking to I'm like, oh, I like that one's 2.5. Oh, Craig's gonna give me hell. Oh, that one's 3.5. Craig's gonna give me hell. I'm like, oh, I like that one. It's +270. I'll take that one.
Craig,
I'll give him hell.
Care
regardless.
to respond?
Yeah, Akron +280, 10 cents better than Joey's over Buffalo.
Wow. Craig, any weather we should be aware of when betting this week?
There's a lot of rain. Illinois, Washington's going to rain throughout. Temple, Tulsa, the same. Wet and windy in Stanford versus Miami, but that stadium's got the canopy, so it's not as impactful anymore.
All right, good to know. Are you guys ready to move on to some NFL?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, NFL Week 8. Drake May continues to play over expectations for a second-year quarterback. I don't know what that look was, Craig. How big of a liability is Drake May posing to the MVP market?
Not a liability at this point. And we hope that he's going to get there, but he won't. He's one of these quarterbacks that it's just, you have to be absolutely dominant. You got to get the number one AFC seed, which I don't think they're capable of doing. So if they do run the AFC and it's very competitive in that top-heavy AFC, he could get MVP, but I don't think he's going to do that. So, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Currently, fourth shortest odds at +750. Mahomes, Allen, Baker ahead of him. Craig?
17th in handle, 26th in liability. No one's fooled here.
I need to get on it.
We are big fans of Drake May and the MVP, but let's be realistic. You called the Pats by $1 billion last week. Plagiarism at its finest.
But at least mine cashed.
They beat the Titans.
At least mine cashed, Craig. So
yes.
go
on.
on.
I've got excuses. I got a little
Ravens
laundry list
by
of
$1
excuses.
billion.
Yeah.
How's that looking? 1-5. All right, go on.
No, let's be realistic. They've got to win the division. They've got to be the number one seed. And he doesn't have the stats like that. You pad him against Tennessee.
Breaking Tom Brady's franchise record for highest completion percentage in a regular
checks the
season
ball down.
Checks the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys even watching these games? He's made some good throws.
Brady had the highest completion percentage because they were all those 6-yard passes. Drake may beat it because they're little 3-yard passes, less danger of getting dropped.
He can air it out, all right? Well, moving on to another quarterback that you guys have some opinions about.
Correct opinions as well, apparently.
Well, Craig, specifically, you've had your opinions on Baker Mayfield so far this year. After his performance on Monday Night Football, are you feeling validated?
I rest my case, Your Honor. My point was proven Monday.
Yeah.
Will he bounce back? Yes. Will he bounce back on primetime? No, he's got a terrible record on primetime. As I said, he's not even top 10 in my ratings. He was second in MVP betting at the time because of all the media hype. He is fortunate that Geno Smith and Tua Tagovailoa are in the league. Otherwise, he'd be even further lower down on my numbers.
Ouch. Joey?
I feel screwed. I mean, Baker's playing well all throughout the year. He's playing well. We're talking. Cindy's like, he's the best quarterback ever. And like, okay. And maybe I drink a little bit of Kool-Aid last week, and we need him so bad on Monday night. What does he do? He has a pathetic performance. He's seeing ghosts out there. He's overthrowing wide receivers. He looked like the Baker of old. And that really, I feel screwed. That's what I feel.
What's worse?
He did look bad. I will give you that.
Because you feel bad because you bought the Kool-Aid, or because now you have to listen to me for a week?
Both.
A little bit both. But probably
it's
the latter.
50-50.
Probably the latter. Yeah.
All right. Moving on. The Broncos rallied down 19 points to scoring 33 points in the fourth quarter to beat the Giants last weekend. I need to know what the mood in the trading room was during that time, because that's a pretty crazy turn of events.
The feeling in those types of games where you have an underdog leading, we're just waiting for it to fall down. And if one thing Craig has properly trained us at doing is, unless the clock hits 0-0,
don't say a word.
Don't say a word. So, usually sometimes, we try to make light of it and saying, oh, well, how are we going to lose this one? What's going to happen here? What is this pick six? What's going to happen in this spot? And that's usually kind of our emotional hedging, I guess you could say, of just like preparing yourself for the worst. And so when that happens, you gotta pick yourself up though and move on. It hurts in the time, especially when the Broncos just do not play well the first three quarters. And this is like multiple times they've come back in this spot, and it's just it's beyond our capability. And you feel for also the Giants, feel for Giants fans. How many times this year has that happened to them? Jackson Dart makes a mistake. He's a rookie quarterback. That's what's going to happen. But, these ones hurt, especially a big swing and in play, I'm sure, with a favorite coming back in the fourth quarter. Those always hurt. But you got to pick yourself up and move on.
In my office, a lot of old English language, Shakespeare would be proud of. But as a company, we have a motto: together we win. And the training floor, is the empathy of that, because we win together or we lose together. Whether it could be a penalty shootout, we've all got an eye on it because we know the result. Game 7 of a ALCS, we all know which side we need, and we're all cheering on for it. And then you get down to an NFL Sunday, and you've got two games at the same time. So it was the Cardinals and the Giants that we want one of those two results, and it's like the cheering and the oh my god. Well, it's not. That's not what's said. But yeah, look, it's a great atmosphere. It's why we love the job,
right?
And it's good and bad, and it's not just us. Like everybody in the company that's aware of the liabilities and where we stand are feeling exactly the same. It's just there's 100 of us in here on a Sunday, and
right.
It's a great feeling, but it's not a great feeling, if you know what I mean.
Fair. Yeah. All right. Following up, is Daboll getting fired before the end of the season?
I don't think so. I think they had the plan. The organization had the plan going the season. Let Russ get pummeled for the first couple of weeks. Give Dart the ball and we'll run with it. And I think they've kind of made bigger they've kind of outperformed their expectations thus far. A lot of people thought that they were going to just be bad, especially just having a young team, and they are competitive out there. Obviously, you don't want to see them lose there.
Yeah.
But and Neighbors probably getting injured probably wasn't part of the plan. But no, I don't think Daboll. I think this was all part of the plan of this kind of rebuild. And so far, even though their record is not great, I think they've shown success in spots.
The expert Eagles fan in this building, who is married to an expert Giants fan,
yikes,
informs me that the Mara family are not ones for in-season firings. They did fire the kicker this week, didn't they? So already,
that's probably
So
the problem's fixed.
The issue's at the top. Let's fire the person at the bottom first. But no, look, they're not going to fire him. Is the ink dry on the goodbye letter for the end of the season? Yes, it's already written. It's got like a 9-week delay on the email getting sent. But joking aside, all the 8.5 point dogs this year have all covered. Second time this one should have won straight up. We had the weekend where the 49ers beat the Rams 8.5 point dog. Patriots on the Sunday night. So it's 4 out of 6 that should have won straight up. But it's a key number for a road dog.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Moving on, the Packers are currently have the fourth shortest odds to win the Super Bowl, plus 800. ahead of teams like the Eagles, the Rams, the Colts. Why is that when it feels like they're not really living up to that preseason hype?
I think it's the frailness of the NFC. If you look at the top of NFC, we really don't have that true dominant team. Rams will give you at times. Eagles will give you at times. Lions can't win a big game unless you count the Baker game, but I don't think Craig counts that as a big game.
That's called a bye week.
That's called a bye week, yeah. But at the end of the day, the Packers, I do not like their offense one bit, but their defense is dominant, and that's who's going to keep you in games. And even this last game, where you should probably run through the Cardinals, they're still in the game because their defense holds them there. They're just making less and less mistakes down the stretch, and they're able to kind of punch that in. But when you can't score that many points, you put yourself in that situation where you're at a coin flip in the game and you're going to lose half of those. And so the Packers, they are just really on paper dominant. Their offense has potential, but they really haven't shown it yet. So they are. I think it's just really the NFC of just really not that standout team. Like we see the Chiefs in the AFC, they're clearly the standout team at this point.
Right.
There's two answers. They're the fourth best team on my ratings. That's why they're fourth in the Super Bowl betting. But as Joey and I discussed this week, it feels like the Packers play to the level of their competition. When they have a marquee game, they play brilliant. When they play not so good teams, they get dragged into that. Not just win the game, blow them out, get on the plane, get out of there. They're playing to the level of these substandard teams, and it drags them down, and then it's too late to get out of it. Like the Browns was a classic example. They let the Cardinals hang around. The defense is marquee. Is that arrogance on the Packers side or lack of preparation? Possible. Because you're the better team going in. But we'll see. They will not play poorly on Sunday night.
Is that a promise?
100% guaranteed.
All right.
100%. By a billion?
By a billion?
3.5 billion.
All right. Okay, moving on to Joe Flacco. He was able to lead the Bengals to their first win in 5 weeks. Round of applause, Joe. Other Joe, is there any value on the Bengals possibly winning the AFC North?
Round of applause to Joe.
Round of applause to Craig, but Craig, I won't even say it.
At $4.25, I don't think there's much value in that price. If we listened to Craig last week,
14s
had value. But I think Joe Flacco can kind of hang in there and hold down the fort until the other Joe comes back. Yeah. But I don't think they have the ability to win the AFC North because, the Ravens are still there. I know that at the bottom they're still there, but they have so much power and it's just potential. Got a big game this week. So I don't think there's value at $4.25 because you'll see a tale of two Joe Flaccos. Like he obviously is a great quarterback. That's why he's still playing today. But sometimes the wheels fall off in middle seasons, and once they figure it out. I mean, he understood the message last week: get the ball to Jamar Chase, and it worked.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do.
But I think at $4.25 there's not much value. But if we listened to Craig last week, there was absolutely value.
All right, Craig, I'm giving you your time to shine.
It wasn't necessarily because I thought the Bengals were massive value at 14s. Mm-hmm. Did I like them to beat the Steelers? Yes. Am I biased because I'm a Flacco fanboy? Yes.
You're also not big on the Steelers, correct?
I just couldn't see minus 190 as value for the Steelers.
Right.
Knowing how good Baltimore can be, knowing how good a veteran quarterback Flacco is, and you're putting him on. This isn't the Browns team that he's quarterbacking, right?
No.
And of course, how Browns go and do Browns things, and they trade a quarterback within the division.
Yeah.
Genius. And Flacco now has Higgins, Jamar Chase. He has a wealth. He has a wealth of talent to throw the ball to and hand it off to. So there was just no value in a 1-2 shot, especially if you like the Bengals Thursday night, then you take them for the division. Now it's too late. You don't bet them now.
Okay, value's gone, but the value was there, which if you were listening to the podcast and listening to Craig, you could have got that.
The ticket hasn't cashed, but you could theoretically hedge out of that situation.
Theoretical value,
Yeah. All right. We've talked a lot about MVP level quarterbacks this year, but who's the worst quarterback in the league right now?
I think it's Geno. I think the Raiders offense had such an upgrade in the offseason. You get Ashton Genty and You get Chip Kelly, just fresh off a national championship. You bring in Pete Carroll, who's just going to change the organization, and they can't even get a first down last week. I mean, it's Raiders' offense is absolutely terrible, and usually they're competitive with the Chiefs. Usually, that's something usually I look forward to. Is like, okay, well, the Raiders playing the Chiefs, I know they're going to give their best effort. We did not see that on Sunday, so I think Geno right now at the bottom of my league. I already know who Craig's is, but that might be a little bit of bias internally.
It's a dead heat in horse racing terms. Joe is correct with Geno, but I'm also correct with Tua. Your quarterbacks, when you're on a bad team, and Geno's not on the best team, Tua's not on the best team.
Right.
But your quarterback should at least be able to rally the troops, put you on your back, have a marquee game, get you this win once in a while just because of how great the quarterback played and got the troops. It feels like the locker room, nobody has Geno or Tua's back, and the interceptions from both of them are just my head scratching. It's almost like they're colorblind.
Yeah.
Right.
They're looking at which uniform is this? Which you're not old enough to remember. Vinny Testaverde held the record for interceptions in the season, and he was the Heisman winner, came out number 1 pick. And it turns out because the Tampa Bay uniforms were such a way, he was actually colorblind, and that's what the argument was. So when he went to the Jets and it was a darker green, he could differentiate.
Damn.
True story.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's crazy.
Way before your times.
That's crazy. They better start on that narrative that they're colorblind. Okay. Any honorable mentions?
Baker.
God.
I don't have any honorable mentions.
All right.
The thing is, it's easy to look at what are the worst teams and then accuse the quarterback of being that. But look at Justin Fields, right? Is he the worst quarterback in the league? Maybe, but look at the situation around him. He's stuck in a terrible situation, so that's not fair on him as a quarterback.
Same with like a Cam Ward.
Yeah. And he's a rookie. So I looked at it through the lens of picks, turnover in the ball, bad turnovers, and being on teams that the expectations are far higher. Now, I think the Raiders total was, 7 start of the year?
Yeah.
Dolphins was 7.5, 8. And they're not even close.
Right.
Right. That's the big part.
That's the part.
Makes sense. All right. True or false, the Indianapolis Colts are Super Bowl contenders?
Please.
False. They can beat up on the little sisters of the poor all they want, but that does not translate to a playoff caliber team win.
Is there a turning point for them?
Yeah,
Do you have it marked on their schedule like, hey, this is where we stop believing in the hype?
Yeah, January.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, they have a very simple schedule looking forward, and AFC South is not necessarily competitive, so they should. I mean, they're going to be a playoff team, but it's when you get to the playoff team, can you beat the Josh Allens in a playoff game? Can you beat the Patrick Mahomes? I probably not.
No.
Yeah.
And you're going up against better teams. I mean, 3 of Indianapolis's wins against 3 quarterbacks we just mentioned: Geno, Cam Ward, Tua, and they've got a win against the Cardinals in there. They beat a Broncos team, which is Broncos are not as good.
And they shouldn't have won that game, right? Because it was like a weird fluky field goal.
The ref.
Yeah, the flag. Yeah.
The only win of quality was against the Chargers this weekend, and maybe the Chargers are not what we were hyping up after 2 weeks. And the one good team they've played this year, they lost to the Rams.
Yeah.
All right. Good points. Who's the bigger problem in Miami, Craig? Tua or Mike McDaniel?
If you got long enough. No, it's neither. It's Chris Grier, the GM.
Ooh. You said neither. I was going to say both. Okay, go on.
I'll get to them after. Grier's wasted the majority of salary cap on a handful of players. The ratio of salary cap to number of players eating up that thing is the highest in Miami. They've had nothing but salary cap issues for years. His draft skills are awful. Like, literally, he couldn't open a window and get a draft through an open window. That's how bad he is at the draft. They've never addressed the defense. They knew it was a problem going into the offseason. The offensive line was always a problem, never addressed it. You tanked for an injured quarterback with a hip issue and then paid him $1 billion a year, and he's concussed every single year. That bad business. Then it's McDaniel, because he's built a finesse offense, which is his skill set, so completely disregarding any of the defense. Finesse offenses don't win games in bad weather, as we saw in Cleveland, and you get bad weather in December, and finesse doesn't go up against elite defenses because they defend it well. And guess what? You get both in January, which is a month Miami never see anyway, unless week 18 is January the 1st. So you need a solid offensive line, a power running back where you can manage the clock. And Miami don't have any of that. And as an offensive genius, he's come up with nothing new.
Yeah.
It's just, run Tyreek this way and this way. So no, it starts with Grier, but McDaniel and Tua are also issues.
Yeah, I said both, but Craig really broke. That was a great.
Yeah, that was great analysis.
Nice round of applause there. That was a great breakdown. I say both. Tua, I think he's just lost confidence. His ability to throw the ball, the injuries have really lined up over the years. And McDaniel, the system has just been found out.
Yeah.
And I think they're both toast after this season. I think it's time to rebuild once again in Miami.
Poor Miami fans. All right, moving on to another team we love to talk about. The Cowboys offense has looked pretty great. They look like they're firing on all cylinders. Is it time to maybe start taking them seriously?
I don't know if seriously is the right word, because in order to be serious, you kind of have to have a defense as well. And we've seen this defense let a couple points being scored on the board. But their offense...
What wins championships?
Defense. But their offense has been impressive. And I want to give credit where credit's due. I did not think Schottenheimer was a good coach fit, or really it was kind of like they felt like they lost that coach carousel. But the offense is clicking, and that's his go-to is an offense, and they can score at whim. And so the only way they have a chance, they got to make some moves towards the deadline of getting some defensive players. Look for the teams that are selling off, that are going to rebuild, trying to get draft picks and just get in. I don't know if Jerry's going to do that, but that's your only opportunity, is to address the gap that Micah left. And your offense is going to be cooking on all cylinders. So if you can just improve that defense slightly, it's going to make it's going to be hard for teams to kind of defend this team. And so they have a chance, but they just got to improve the defense at the deadline. They got to make some moves.
Yeah.
On my ratings, they're a bang average team. 0. Like literally dead center of my ratings. So they're never going to be a favorite on a neutral venue. I agree. Defense is the problem. Offense score points. Schottenheimer, while he comes from a good family of former coaches. But again, let's see in a couple of years when the offensive scheme becomes found out, because once teams get... And they've not really played anybody that well. No, I can't trust the Cowboys.
All right. Well, this Sunday is National Tight Ends Day. Do you guys have to adjust touchdown odds because of this kind of made-up holiday?
If we know about it, the NFL coaches know about it, and they're going to be making adjustments to account for it if that was the angle. So, no, you don't really have to make adjustments directly. If it was a secret that only quarterbacks, tight ends, and odds makers knew, then we had to adjust. But that's not the case here.
We are not florists, and we are not chocolatiers on Valentine's Day, another made-up holiday. We believe in giving our customers the value week in and week out, so we don't price gouge our customers. So they'll get the normal prices on Travis Kelce and all the other tight ends.
All right. Well, we'll circle back to this in a little bit. Let's get into our game previews, starting with Giants, Eagles. Philadelphia was upset by New York on the road 2 weeks ago. I believe the line was pretty similar.
Yeah, well,
Eagles are -7.5 currently. Total's 44. So what's the difference here? Is Philly going to get their revenge, or is it going to be another kind of upset?
It's going to be a good game. I don't know what's going to happen entirely, but I know that Philly is pissed off. They don't like losing to New York ever, as our local Philly fan will tell us very happily.
Shout out Fulmer.
It is marriage, exactly. I'm
to
sure
a Giants fan.
It's an unhappy household and a happy household on the same day. It's divisional class, revenge game. 2 weeks ago, Jackson Dart led the Giants, stunning victory, but it kind of was fulfilling for some people that said the Eagles were not that good. They came out last week and they beat the Vikings team. Or let me see, Carson Wentz lost that game. Excuse me, that wasn't really. But they're going to certainly give their best effort, show that they were the Super Bowl champions last year. But I think Dart and Scadaboo are still going to rise to the occasion. Will this loss this past week kind of affect them? We're going to find out on Sunday. But I know the Eagles are pissed. I do kind of like the Eagles, but not at 7.5, maybe 7. I'd be a buyer just because of when you play that second game, it's so much. You fix the mistakes that you made in the first game.
Eagles have won 12 straight at home versus the Giants. It's tough to beat a divisional opponent twice. It's even tougher when you're a touchdown dog in both of them.
Yeah.
I think the Giants were like 7.5 that night.
Yeah.
I do believe so as well.
There's a lot of revenge on the line here for the Eagles. What interests me more is how Jackson Dart picks himself up and picks his team up after last week's debacle. Yep, they've already cut the kicker, so they'll have a new kicker as well now, so that's different because of practice. They've been in the news for all the wrong reasons this week with Wilson and Sean Payton getting out.
Yeah.
Interesting, this is the biggest difference I have on my numbers versus what the team put out on the spreads. I make the Eagles 9.5 point favourites here.
Could see that.
And 10 on a different model. So I'm a bit, if it's Philly -7, I'll probably take the 7.
Yeah.
7.5, I'm not going to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, in agreement there. Moving on. Bears, Ravens. Good news for Ravens fans is it looks like Lamar's expected to be back at least. Is this essentially a playoff game for the Ravens, who are 1-5 currently?
Yeah, every week's gonna be a playoff game for them. They're kind of taking what the Bengals were doing last year, right? They're just playing catch up. But they have the ability to. I think Lamar. Look, he's a competitor. He's going to come out there and they're going to try and give it their best, especially if he's going. He's still questionable at this time, not practicing a lot. So is that hamstring fully healed? Probably not. But he certainly makes a big impact, especially if you've seen Ravens games recently. Must-win game. Chicago, slowly, they won 5 in a row after dropping the first
sneaky.
2. Sneaky in there. Ben Johnson doing what he does. I mean, they're not winning fantastically, but they're still winning. I think that's going to be competitive. I think this game's going to fly over because I don't think the defenses are fully formed. I don't think the Ravens have fixed it, and I don't think that if Lamar's healthy, I don't know if the Bears can do what they can to stop him. So I think it's going to be a good game, competitive one that I'm looking forward to and really seeing if Lamar's back and if the Ravens are going to actually make a run at this or if they're going to just fall flat.
Full disclosure, I bet the Ravens again for the Super Bowl this week, only knowing that if they lose this week, it's toast. Their season's over. But the only way is up that I can see. They've got only the Packers, which is a tough game, of the remaining 11. The rest, they could easily go 9-2.
Run the table, yeah.
They could easily run the table. They could easily go 10-1. 10 wins borderline gets you the wild card. Only the twice in the last 10 years, though, was it enough to win the division. You need 11 or 12 wins in that division. But they get the Bengals twice and they get the Steelers again. So having Lamar back, and they're going to start getting the defensive pieces back. They're only going to get healthier. So this is the week. And they played the Rams really tough, and this is going to kill me. I will give Joey credit. We talked about Cooper Rush being the quarterback, but Joey made a great point. Why don't you put a quarterback in, was it Huntley?
Yeah.
Who, similar traits to Lamar, no, you can't emulate Lamar, but similar mobile-ish quarterback, get him on the move. And they looked a better team with Huntley in as opposed to Rush.
Yeah.
Which was a great observation by Joey. But this is it.
Wow.
This is that. All those 20-1s and 16-1s all getting ripped up this week. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, we have Packers-Steelers. Some drama in this one with Aaron Rodgers facing his former Green Bay Packers for the first time since leaving. Packers are currently favored -3, totals 45. What should we expect in Rodgers' return?
We should expect a Joey Feasel nap on Sunday night because these are the two teams that I absolutely despise. I do not like anything about these teams, and maybe it's because they're defensive teams. Maybe this is more of Craig's neck of the woods. But yeah, this has got all the narratives. Aaron Rodgers first time playing the Packers again, and he's going to want this win bad. But do I think he's going to be able to get it done? No. This is probably the only week that I think that there's value on the Packers here, laying the points in this spot. But I expect a pretty high intensity game, defensive game, boring game, Craig Mucklow type game. And yeah, I think it's one to watch.
The only thing that could make it better if it was in Green Bay.
True. And snowy and horrible. I meant to check, but obviously the news of this morning distracted me from doing the analysis. But I meant to check if Rodgers ever went up against Brett Favre. I can't remember if he did.
I don't know if he did or not.
But Rodgers is perfect in revenge games. He's 1-0 because he beat the Jets week 1. You know full well, and this is why the NFL, you tip your cap to the schedulers of the NFL because they put this on Sunday night.
Smart.
And you know it's what we're talking about. Both these teams had this circled in their calendar. I make this Green Bay 2.5. I think it's one of those games where Green Bay raised their game to the opponent. Is it a bet off 3? No. If I saw 3.5, it'd probably be a Steelers bet. If I saw -2.5, it'd be a Green Bay bet. So it's more like I'm just going to watch a 3-0 game. But great game. But I do think Packers raised their game because of the level of the opponent.
Yeah, good points. All right, let's move on to our picks of the week. Favorite NFL game to go over?
I like the Giants and the Eagles over 44. I think there's going to be some intensity in that game. I still think that the Giants are capable of scoring. And I think the Eagles, given the chance, are going to want to put it on them. So it's going to be over 44.
My number one angle is not there this week. So it's Dolphins-Falcons over 44.5. We've got to go for plan B.
Plan B.
All right. Favorite NFL game to go under?
49ers-Texans under 41.5. I think we saw the Texans really just offense is flat. 49ers dealing with stuff on defense, but their offense isn't anything to write home about either. Give me the under 41.5 there.
Packers-Steelers under 45.5.
Wow.
And actually, one thing I want to mention about the Packers-Steelers, those two teams go to the tight end a lot.
Yeah.
And as you saw, Rodgers only looked at the 3 tight ends the whole game last Thursday, so national tight end down Sunday night will be a big night.
Yeah, we'll definitely circle back to that one. Favorite NFL team to cover the spread?
I think the Bears hang in there. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. So I think the 6.5, a slight value there. With Lamar's injury, you take it now and Lamar's out and you got great value too.
Yeah.
So I think this is the tip of the market. I don't think it goes necessarily over that. So I like the Bears to cover the 6.5 there.
Bengals -6.5, not because of Flacco, not because of the Bengals, because it's the Jets.
I like it. Upset of the week.
We'll go same game there. Bears take over the Ravens. So maybe they'll get some respect this week.
Dolphins over the Falcons.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I saw that
Only
yesterday, and I was like, "Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it?"
Only because of the math.
Yeah.
You know why.
I know why.
Yeah.
Craig, any weather NFL bettors should be worried about before placing their bets?
Chiefs Monday night looks to be rainy. Unfortunately, we're not getting what we got last week because both those went under, the Bears and the Browns.
Ooh, dang. All right, let's get into our anytime touchdown parlay, 1 pick per person. In honor of National Tight Ends Day, let's place some rules. Let's go all tight ends for this one.
Okay.
Joey, start us off.
I'm going to go with Jackson Dart's favorite man, Theo Johnson, plus 300 to get in the end zone against the Eagles.
I don't know what the odds were of mine. And of course, I missed Oronde Gadsden by a week.
Okay, you did miss him by a week. Now there's no more value anymore.
Yeah, I was like, the old English came out in the office when I saw him scored. Pat Freeman for the Steelers. 4 of the Steelers' touchdowns last week were by tight ends. And it's quite interesting to watch a 300-pound tight end rumble towards the end zone. That was funny. The Cardinals also had a monster day versus the Packers last week, so I think the same happens with the Steelers.
That's great. I'm going to go other end, Tucker Kraft, as you mentioned. Both teams like to throw to tight ends. It's National Tight End Day. If you like this, you can bet it on the Caesar Sportsbook app. It is the Talking with Our Traders quick pick. Guys,
We're still profitable for the year.
Yeah.
For an 18 to 1 shot,
but
though.
still. No. Let's get into our game picks of the week. guys.
All right. Well, you are still leading, Cindy, even though Joey's gone 6-0, which is an impressive run.
It's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I went 3-0 last week.
How could you go 3-0? It's 2 picks.
Because my touchdown score also cashed.
Selective.
Yeah,
Selective memory.
Yeah.
Okay. You know you're not profitable for your touchdowns this year.
I would be if I had bet them. Yeah, so.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't you go first, Craig? Why don't you?
I'll set us off so that you two can change your picks after, okay?
Go for it.
Looks like I'm buying dinner again.
Yeah, it does look that way.
It was nice. Dolphins, Falcons over 44.5. Stanford, Miami under 45.5.
All right. Well, we saw 45.5.
Well.
Okay. Well. I'm going to go Eagles, Giants over 44. I think that game's going to be electric. And University of South Florida, minus 4.5.
All right. I don't know if I'm going crazy because I'm going to go against my cardinal rule. And I'm going to lay the points with the Kansas City Chiefs 12.5.
Oof.
Yeah. Ugly, right? But I'm really having a good
two.
feeling about this.
Commanders.
And Marcus Mariota.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, and then my college pick, I'm going to lay the points with Vandy, fading Joey.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Tried and trusted process.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for this week's episode. If you don't already, please subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow at Caesar Sports on Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube. Guys, final last words heading into the weekend.
I got a question for Joey.
Yeah.
I see F1 return to the United States this week. Excited for F1 coming to Vegas?
What, you think I only like sports that just throw the ball? I look at the cars go fast as well.
Yeah. Like the cars that go fast.
We got the F1 coming here or soon enough, right?
Yeah.
That's in a month or so.
A month, yeah.
All right. Well, bet
Little less.
responsibly. Have fun.
All right. Bye.